As we come into our time of meditation, feel free to close your eyes if that's comfortable, or simply let your gaze soften. Sense the places where the back of your body rests, wherever you're sitting. And let your body surrender into that support. I invite you to gently bring to mind a situation in your life that is calling you to let go, calling you to release the grip of your ruminating. Take a deep breath in and exhale fully. And again, breathe in, breathe out. And letting go even of expectation of finding a solution now. Set an intention, if you'd like, that this time in meditation will bring you spaciousness to feel the power of God holding you. Deeper and deeper, I surrender. There's nowhere I have to go. There is no one I have to be. Nothing I have to do but gently breathe. I breathe in as the water flows. Breathe out as the water flows. I breathe in as the wind blows. I breathe out as the wind blows. Deeper and deeper. Deeper and deeper. I let go. As the river flows. I let go. As the river flows. have to do. But breathe. Breathe in the breath of God. Breathe out the breath of God. And gently come back into this space. Maybe with your grip loosened just a bit. What does it mean to let go? What's simple, easy to release things or life-altering things have you let go of in the past few days or weeks or over the years? I have let go of clothing that doesn't fit anymore, either my waistline or my style, or sort of style. I've let go of books that I've read and passed along to friends. I let go of my high school dream of working at the UN as a translator. I've let go of coloring my hair and wearing high heels. I even let go of getting a haircut this week. In the hard years before I let go of my married life, my son one night took me indoor rock climbing. And I learned with trepidation growing into courage to let go of one finger hold, one toe hold at a time, trusting that the next would be there when I needed it. The embodied exercise in trust became a metaphor that helped me relearn to trust that all is well. I couldn't even do one day at a time in those days, in those weeks, but one toe hold at a time that I could do. It's an image that really still resonates. So thanks, Billy, for all that rock climbing back in the day. Do not let your hearts be troubled. If I find myself ruminating over a weighty decision, I release its grip on my attention by letting go and letting God. Who knew the divine timing of reading that with Roger a few weeks ago would feel so perfectly timed this week? I guess really, it's always the message. Let go, darling, I've got you. Let go. No, really, let go. But this week, I really was especially blessed with a lesson of what it means to go with the flow, of what it means to keep a long view perspective, what it means to lean into gratitude, both for the things that I didn't lose, for how much it could have been worse, gratitude for the people in my life who stepped in to be the voice of God, reminding me, let go, we've got you. It's a week of remembering that when the overwhelm comes, it's going to come. Wailing in the morning did not seem like an inappropriate response, quite frankly. when the flood guy came and just kept walking through the house saying, oh, wow. Oh, wow. I'm like, all right, I was spot on in my keening this morning. So it doesn't mean to bypass the overwhelm. But it also means don't stay there. Don't stay there. Calm wasn't where I began, for sure. It's not where I'm going to remain in these weeks and maybe months of upheaval in my life. When I went from the bathroom to the kitchen to all of the rooms that have been affected, calm wasn't where I stayed. But when I was calm enough to release my grip on the panic that I felt initially, I could take the steps I needed to take. I could reach out for help, the help that I needed. The voice of divine mind, the voice of God, calmed my beating heart and my hot tears. And I reached out to a friend who had a similar experience a few years back in her house and called the flood control group that she used. And the men who came, this crew, were not only thorough and professional, they were so kind. It was the voice of God through Gary and Ron and Warren and the other guys they had to call in when the oh wow became like, oh yeah, not 3 guys. It helped me call my brothers to come and make sure we weren't going to blow up the house with the water coming in through the light fixture. To call my mom and dad to say, Mom, Dad, pray, and maybe bring me some food a little bit later. The human expressions of the divine who showed up for me in this situation were the reminders, because God gives us reminders. We all face those moments when it feels like the rug's been pulled out from under us. Part of my long view perspective this week, with my rugs literally pulled out and rolled up and in the garage drying until they can be professionally cleaned, is thinking about those families in Kentucky whose whole lives and homes, memories, treasures were swept away in those raging waters. God will come to them in the hands of neighbors helping, and those of us from far who rally when there's an emergency, a tragedy, near or far. That's the voice of God at work, reminding us when we let go, when we loosen our grip on the toehold, it is often another human or maybe an animal friend that gives us that reassurance that all will be well. Keeping some perspective doesn't require me to ignore or stuff my own experience or feelings. It just gives me that space to lean in to gratitude. I even feel the grace of having been away on retreat, that it didn't happen on retreat, number one, but that I had time in that big God time, steeped in the sound of the wind in the trees, the birds and the chipmunks singing away every morning, watching the sun come up over the mountains, doing morning prayer with my dear, dear soul friend Sue. I filled up my well. My reserves were pretty low when I left here. I know they don't usually look low because I've got that like weird, I call it my superpower and my Achilles heel, that I just don't show the chinks in my armor till the chinks are like ginormous like they were on Monday. But I was ready to fill up my well. When our reserves are low, what do we do to fill up our well? This is a well filler. Being with you on Sunday is both spiritual practice, it's a way for me to give from my God well, and it is a way for me to receive. Every morning on retreat was hemmed with prayer. I've shared before, in fact, I think before the White Stones, Paul Framant might have even shared the Sufi body prayer that I shared with Dottie years ago, so it's got this beautiful lifespan. But every morning, as Sue and I watched the sun come up, she brought a book, a beautiful book, Prayers with the Earth by John Philip Newell. Just beautiful prayers for peace, but grounded in the gift of nature. It was so fitting for that time, looking and steeped and living in nature, forest bathing every day, no matter what we were doing. And I taught her the Sufi body prayer. In its fullness, as it was taught to me, it is an embodied prayer. But I will share the words and simple gestures. You don't need to put your head, kneel down onto the floor. I will share this on a PDF if you're interested. It'll be there for you after this. This is one of the gifts that I have had for years from my experience at One Spirit. So I offer this. And then my questions that arise now in the gift of my time at Unity. How I am melding these two spiritual homes. So here is the Sufi body prayer with just simple gestures. I step into the embrace of the beloved to receive and to give. I put behind me all worldly concerns and egoistic thoughts. I open my heart and offer thanksgiving and praise. I surrender to you that I may do your will now and always. One with you. Ever since we did that on retreat, I have incorporated that into my practice again. It's one of those things that when I start doing it again on a daily basis, I think, why do I ever stop doing this prayer? Because for me, it might not resonate for you in the same way. I invite you into it as you read it at home and try it. You do that prayer 3 times through. And Sufism, if you don't know, is the mystical branch of Islam. And so what a gift to embrace that embodied prayer 3 times through, but 5 times a day. That reminder that everything we do as we surrender brings us into alignment with that beloved. But I've also really been wrapping my head around, contemplating, ruminating. What does it mean to say God is principle and call that principle my beloved? So as I'm doing that interweaving, I have no idea the answer yet, even for me. We'll see. But as I let go of needing to have an answer, as I lean into just being grateful that I have these 2 really big spiritual paths in my adult life that help me fill up the well so that when the rug is pulled out, I don't stay in despair, that I can reach out, that I can listen, that I can know that, let go, I am here, trust, all will be well. So together I think we shape that answer individually and communally. What does it mean to you to live a life of trust? To let go of the finger hold and the toe hold when what we want to do is grip for dear life. What does it mean to surrender? To step into the relationship we have with the God within and the God expressed in each person we interact with, whether we see their faces or not. So I invite you in the coming week to think about how you fill up your well. And I'm going to leave you with, I also am letting go of whether this was the right way to end or not. But when I shared that Sufi body prayer with Sue, I dug through some of my old Google Docs and found both the language of that I learned from the book Spiritual Practices by our spiritual director, Diane Burke, and a poem that I wrote. At the end of my first year of One Spirit, each year there's an intensive retreat. So I say I wrote this, but it really felt like it wrote itself in ways that, for me, poetry does not usually get written like that. But it came after an afternoon of silence, where we took the juiciness of all that had happened in those retreat days up until then and let it sift through. And so I share this with you. And may it just, if it touches your heart, open your heart to what needs to let go, what needs to be set into trust, that together we can face anything. So this is inspired by the Sufi body prayer. My beloved, I step into the embrace of my beloved, and here in this moment is all I need. Receive first. Receive love, grace, and again, love. Love to give back now to my beloved. Love enough to release my fear and worry and smallness. Love enough to open my heart. Where can I run from your love? My lips, my eyes, my limbs, my joyful dancing feet carry me to yes and yes. Yes, says my heart. Yes. And I reach in, pluck out the final shard of glass, offer it to my beloved and surrender to the light, the radiant light that spills out of this tender fissure in my heart, pulls me, invites me, loves me into surrender. My will becomes thy will. Yes, and love, always. And so it is. Amen.